Oh, fixed, I put fixed first. Really? Oh yeah, I did. So I want to make sure that this is just for the station and just for the day and how far into the season we are. So I say fixed. Now there are a couple different, oops. There are a couple different options that you can use. One's fixed, one's include, and one's exclude. For now, I'll cover fixed. And what fixed does, it says, regardless of what's happening here, regardless of the details supplied here, calculate this median over the things I'm about to list. And what I'll do is I'll put it all on the same line. So I'm going to calculate the median over the station, the cumulative station, and I'm going to calculate it over the day of season. And then I put in a colon to say that everything after that is the aggregate. So what this does is it says for the station and for the particular day, find the median of all these lines over all the possible days. It's ignoring what's going on in the graph. It's just looking over the whole data set. Include and exclude allow me to say specifically include the detail that's in the graph or specifically exclude the detail in the graph. I don't have a good demonstration of that right now. I wanted to stick to fixed because fixed is more intuitive because it's ignoring what's happening on the graph and it's just doing the entire table. So do OK, and let's just move this over and make a display out of it. And I'm going to call this a dimension as well, a dimension. And I'm going to make it, we're going to make this, come on, dual axis. And I'm going to synchronize my axes. There we go. And finally, I'm going to take away the coloring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this line, and I'm just going to make it really dark, and I'm going to make it really thick. Now watch what happens. The line does not change. Oh, that should not have happened. There was a little, okay. That's yucky. Somewhere there was a jump in there. Jump in the days. Okay. Really? Okay, so what's happening here is this median. Why is that? Oh, is that just the last one? Why is that jumping like that? What happens if I make this? Oh, line, and I'll make the path the day of the season. Actually, for both, all, I'll make the path the day of the season. And now this should be, no, it's still doing it. So it's jumping back. Okay, so I'm just going to make the median just a dot for now. Actually, what can I do? Yeah, I can just do circles. And I'm going to make them smaller. All right, there we go. So let's move these forward. These dots here representing the median, they don't change as my animation changes. And the reason why they're not changing is because of that fixed keyword. That fixed keyword says, I only care about what's in the data set, I don't care what you've done on the graphic. Now what we can do is we can go in and we can replicate those to do the lower quartile and the upper quartile. So I can just simply duplicate this.
Like Facebook don't care about the pages?
That's right. It doesn't care about the pages. It doesn't care about the rows. It doesn't care about the columns or the filters. It just calculates it. And in that way, fixed is more intuitive because it's as if you did some pre-processing in Python or some pre-processing and then brought it in. Whereas if you use include and exclude, it uses the detail displayed. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to change this to lower quartile. Millimeters, and let's just find our appropriate aggregate here for quartiles. So we need our aggregate, and I think it's percentiles we'll use. Select attribute, exclude, index, median. Aggregate calculation that returns the percentile value from the given. 50%, okay, yeah. So I want the lower percentile, so I'm gonna make this percentile, and I want the 25th percentile. And do I correct it? And it's in fractions, so it's 0.25, done, apply, okay. And I'm gonna edit this and just put in follow my own naming conventions. I'm going to duplicate the lower quantile. So I'm going to duplicate this. Duplicate. Edit it. We change this to upper quartile. Get rid of the word copy. With the word copy, and change 0.25 to 0.75. And we're done. Okay. So I'm going to pull this off for now, and the only other thing I need is I need my quartile range. So I'm going to create a calculated field called quartile range of the cumulative snow, and say it's in millimeters, and it's just the difference between the upper minus the lower, and we'll say okay. Now we're all ready to use to create a Gantt chart. So the first thing we want to do for the Gantt chart is we have to put in the beginnings. So we're going to do the lower quartiles, and we're going to make it a dimension. And I'm going to change this to, there's a type of Gantt chart. So that's the beginnings. And the next thing I want to do is there's a size on the Gantt chart. And if you drag a value into size, that tells you how long the Gantt chart is going to be. So I'm going to drag my quartile range into size. And I'm going to, that's already minimized, and now I'm going to make this dual axis. I'm going to synchronize the axes, and I'm going to move these to the back, the arrow to the back, and I'm going to take the coloring out, which is weird. Why is this snowing? There we go. There. I don't know why that was in there. All right, so I'm going to change the color of this to just be a gray, and let's make it a little transparent, and we can move it to the front if you want. So we'll, and I want this to be transparent, more transparent than that. Why is that not being transparent? That's weird. That's okay. We'll set this at 5%. Okay, so presentation mode. It's a little hard to see, but so a Gantt chart is kind of like lifted bars, right? They're bars that have a start place and an end place. And what we have here is for each day, we have a single set of bars, and the bars represent the start of the 25th percentile, and the upper bit is the 75th percentile. And then what we can see is all the lines that lie outside of the interquartile range. There's a lot of additional formatting and editing you can do with the Gantt chart to make the you can make this size changes the width of them. Making the width really big makes it look, essentially makes it look like a smooth interpolation of the Gantt chart. Yeah. So the point of this illustration is this area here gives you a sense of the 50% variability. If all of these lines were being sampled from the same distribution, if there was no global warming, for example, then 50% of all the paths would lie outside and 50% of the paths would fall inside. Or, well, 50% of the points. But what we can see is that slightly more, and that what's happening is that we're getting more and more observations of years that are falling below like the 25th percentile. For doing these sort of like, for doing these sort of interquartile ranges, this is the closest I've come to for doing a really nice like box and whiskers plot. You can do box and whiskers.
This is for the 1 year or?
This is for all the years. Each and in fact I can do that. I can color each line by the same year that we had before. So let's go in and take each one of these lines and color by the not by the year, but by the season start. I'll color by season start. And I don't want, the year of season start. I'm going to make it continuous, and I'm going to edit the colors. We'll do the Inferno again, and I'll reverse it. All right. So yeah, and I need to let you guys go that each one of these lines is a single year, as I've illustrated with the color here. And one of the telling features is that for some of these snow plots, the more recent years are falling beneath the 25% percentile range, right? So they're falling outside of what would be expected. Some of these are still, roughly within a reasonable range. And then there are things you can do to play around with the Gantt charts where you can get multiple Gantt charts showing up at the same time, so that you could demonstrate the median. In fact, how would I do the median on here? I would
Which are coming under the old ones?
the newer ones.
The newer ones?
Yeah, the newer ones, because we're getting less and less snow. We get more rain, less snow. All right, I'm gonna publish up this workbook as an example of both date arithmetic and a level of detail calculations, and kind of a first shot of playing around with Gantt charts. And I will let you guys go for the day.